r/ask Reddit. People whose first relationship was very long term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the third time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. I am actually amazed at how many married couples are this way. I just thought it was common sense to trust your spouse is doing what they said they were doing. No point in being crazy until there is a reason to be. In the words of my shrink, worrying doesn't change the outcome. It applies in a lot of situations. Edit. I will forward all the gold and platinum to my therapist. I'm sure he would be pleased to know I spread his mind virus. Thanks. He had a birth defect which left him with 2 holes in the tip of his penis. I thought one was for pee and the other was for sperm. My next boyfriend was very confused when I asked him why he only had 1 hole. Edit. Thanks for all the medals. Whoa. I'm also embarrassed by how many people have read this. And since there's too many comments to reply to but I kept getting asked, my school's sex ed program was separated by gender. So I only learned female anatomy. Dongs aren't pretty so I never went out of my way to look at one up close until I met my boyfriend. Haha, this is actually funny. A lot of these responses are extremely dark. At the end of my dong is a hole, he declared. I've looked in the mirror, I've gazed and I've stared. I've glanced at the place on the pecker below, and that's how I know that I know that I know. My penis. As any can see, it ends in a hole that's as cute as can be. It leads to a place, to a space in the skin. And when you can view it, it's time to begin. Remember the hole in my member? He spoke. He turned to the nearest and dearest of folk. A hole in my penis. He whispered with pride. The other was frowning. Just one, he replied. Your partner should actually make an effort to spend time with you. You shouldn't have to surprise them to spend any time with them. This makes me sad. Yeah, it sucked. I enjoyed the time I did manage to spend with her so much though, that I couldn't end things. I don't blame her though. She was struggling with depression and it was difficult for her to find the energy to do anything. That's some girls, in a relationship, don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecs when IGF gets home etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss but I guess some girls don't. r/herpes free since 73 with a username like that I would have also been a little hesitant to get a peck. Why? They've literally said they haven't had an issue in almost 50 years. I would lick the side of my first girlfriend's face like a dog and she loved it. My second girlfriend slapped me when I tried it. Edit. My first gold. Thanks. I was not expecting so many people would relate to that. For me you won the competition here. This taste is the taste of a GF. Giorno Giovanna. It wasn't super long term. Only about a year but when you're in high school that's fairly long term. My ex was a very clingy dude. Sweet but would follow me around every social gathering and get jealous of me spending time with my friends. When I started dating the guy who is now my husband I remember looking around at a party early on of mostly my friends that he hadn't met before and I couldn't find him. I asked someone where he was and he was out by the fire with a group of people chatting and hanging out. I was astonished that we could just go our separate ways in a social setting and that was totally fine. We didn't have to be attached at the hip the whole time. Edit. When I say he would follow me around I literally mean he never left my side. And these were parties and things where he knew everyone as well. At one point my friend was upset so I went into a bedroom with her and another friend to talk to her and within 5 minutes he came into the room and even though this was obviously private he just stood in there. And I did tell him multiple times that we didn't constantly have to be beside each other. If you and your partner like to hang out at parties that's fine but it was suffocating to me. He was jealous of my friends and complained when I would make plans with them. Honestly we were young and he's probably a totally fine dude now. We were just not right together. As a clingy guy trying to not be, what would you say is the appropriate amount of time to be with your partner v friends at a party? Don't think of it as appropriate amount of time. If you are hanging out and chatting along with your girl, that's cool. But if you are just standing there while she is talking, that is being clingy. This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought all couples have their bickering and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life. Spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. My parents' relationship was like this. When I met my current partner, I told him I would never get married because I don't see the point in being stuck in an argument for the rest of my life. His response was, okay, well, if we communicate, I don't see why we would be always arguing. I didn't get it and didn't want to get into it. One day we were communicating and the conversation was intense. Not even arguing, raised voices. And he said, let's take a break from this. I'm feeling frustrated. And I just sat there dumbfounded, like, what? You aren't gonna yell at me? Glad you found each other. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way, and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. This is super valid, and I feel like it applies to other types of relationships too. Learning about different ways people express affection for each other and why they might do it that way was a big help for understanding my mom. For me, I express and understand affection by spending time with someone. But my mom never really wanted to spend much time with me, and didn't appreciate me trying to spend a lot of time with her. It made me feel really unimportant and a bit unloved at times. But then I came across this site talking about different kinds of showing care, and found one that fit her perfectly on it. Showing affection by doing things for someone, not with them, but for them, to make their lives easier. My mom had been trying all that time to show she cared by doing little things for me all the time. Things I often hardly even thought to notice. And that was probably why she would get so upset when she asked me to do some small thing for her and then I forgot. Me forgetting to do that small and seemingly unimportant thing probably made her feel unimportant and unloved. Figuring that out has really helped me understand her. I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with because my first ex did. My second boyfriend was so confused when I started licking his titty lameo. Bro, I love when girls do this. My first girlfriend never did, so I didn't think it was normal. Then my second girlfriend did this and would also lick inside my ear when we were banging, which is like another G-spot, lol. I would never think of these things. I think most women inherently assume this because it feels good for their nipples to be played with. And I think a lot of relationships have a conversation somewhere along the lines of what you had with your second BF. She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting sex. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just ducking, amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, you realize I'm horny too, right? Man, that hits too close to home for me. Hopefully not too close to home. That sex should last more than 45 seconds. I dated a guy for a year and never orgasmed once. He gaslit me into believing that the slight good feeling I felt, like 2-3 stages before coming, was what an orgasm was. I never understood why some girls were so into sex because it was so unsatisfying for me. The next guy I slept with showed me what orgasming actually feels like. Edit. For all of the people who are mad that I blamed him for not knowing what an orgasm is, I didn't share the whole story. BC, I didn't think I would have to. Yes, gaslit was the right term to use because he literally yelled at me when I finally admitted I didn't think I had ever had an orgasm. He told me that I definitely hadn't, made me think that I was crazy. He even told me while we were ducking when I was orgasming. BC, he said guys could feel it and tell. He also told me I was a squirted despite any squirting to prove this. He literally left me so confused until I hooked up with a close guy friend and he made me realize it wasn't me. He actually told me once, if you want it to feel good for you, you have to be on top and set the rhythm for what works for you. Keep in mind, I was 18 and naive and inexperienced. He was 36 and totally took advantage of that. Editing this since it is getting misunderstood. The point I was making was that he would be done in seconds and he'd put the blame on me for not getting any enjoyment out of it. that every time was essentially a quickie, almost a whole decade of nothing but 5 thrusts and then blast off. After that relationship ended, I felt like Jasmine on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. Peter, we just had sex. Tell M. Bonnie. Yes, we had what Joe considers sex. Same. At first I thought his personality made up for it, but I was wrong about that too, lol. My first GF used to squirt. Open bracket. Nothing to do with me. That's just how she was. After say 5 minutes of foreplay she'd be squirting all over the place. And then for the rest of the session she'd be extremely wet. Fast forward to my next relationship. I was like, damn, you broke. Was fingering her profusely, doing all sorts of things, and was getting frustrated because I thought she wasn't into me, or I was doing something wrong. Edit. Goodbye inbox. Also, yes, okay, I get it. It's pee. It didn't smell like pee. And or look like pee, but whatever, it's pee. But it was also almost 17 years ago. We still talk to this day though, so I must send her over and let her know that her PP is internet famous. I found out I was a squirter years after dating people. Started for me when I was like 24. 22 for me. The guy just asked if I was. I said no. He tried and voila, it would not have crossed my mind at that point. I tried to change her. That was my emotional insecurity. My bad, Melissa. You're not my ex. But my name is Melissa. I still have to regularly deal with my ex, who maintains that I alone was the cause for the demise of our relationship. Seeing this was weirdly cathartic. I'm a Melissa too, and I understand this, and have lived this. A lot of girls like to duck. I left a GF of 3 years. A girl I thought I was going to marry over this. She just had an almost zero sex drive. Even from the beginning, she thought 3-4 times a year was plenty. In the end, I decided life was too short to have sex once every 4 months and dealt with over a year of heartbreak, instead of a lifetime of craving sex I wouldn't get. Before I left, I remember trying to soothe myself with, hey, once you are like 70, it won't even matter. My ex-husband always turned me down when I wanted sex. We only had sex when he wanted, once or twice a year. Just a SFW remark. Her father hating me. I just thought this was normal. But in the subsequent 3 relationships, last one turning into a marriage and family, the parents were kind and I couldn't believe that is possible. Sorry, I don't have any NSFW things. All the girls were very open to experiments. Same thing for me, man. Granted, it was a high school relationship and I figured he just hates me cause I'm a high school boy and he knows what high school boys want. But no, the level of malice he poured out on me was far beyond typical father protecting his daughter levels. She eventually dumped me after he threatened to kick her out of her family. In a happy relationship now with an awesome girl whose whole family is a ton of fun. So it worked out for the best. I never quite understood the whole overprotective dad trope. Surely these men were all young boys once and understand the lengths they would have gone through just to get some tail. Why try to take the role of a gatekeeper, forever protecting your daughter's virginity with shotgun in hand when you can just educate them about safe sex practices before they start dating? It's one thing to dislike the type of guys your daughter chooses to be with because they're punks. But it's another thing to dislike all guys ever because nobody will ever be good enough for my precious little girl. This is a little strange, I guess. Sort of an individual thing. But, with my first 2 relationships, 5 years total between the 2, I never realized how cuddly I am. I used to hate being touched or kissed, and I never realized that wasn't just the way I was. I even thought I might be asexual, but deep down I knew that wasn't the case. My fiance used to be the same way, but when we met, somehow things just clicked into place. I'm the same way. I used to hate all signs of physical affection, but now with a romantic partner I can't get enough of it. I've done a lot of reflecting on this aspect of myself, and the best conclusion I can come to is the fact that my parents never showed me physical affection. I didn't think much about it until one of my exes described how much he used to love family cuddle piles while watching movies together. I sort of thought it was normal to have siblings that never hugged, kissed, cuddled, pet you, but now I'm not so sure. One day I hope I get as lucky as you and find someone who can cuddle and pat my head. Abuse. I thought occasional abuse was just, part of the mix of things. Sometimes you get good times. Sometimes you get attacked. I was just lucky I was big so she couldn't do much damage. I felt for other guys who probably had it way worse. It was eye-opening to find out random physical attacks weren't just part of the excitement. Girls be crazy, right? Everybody knows that. Emotional and they beat you and draw blood sometimes. Whatever. My friend had a very similar story. I was driving him home. He had recently had a fight with his girlfriend, again, after multiple incidents of his belongings being intentionally broken and even her pulling a knife on him. And yes, she was his first serious relationship. I'm sorry, but you really need to get out of this. This isn't okay. Him. Well, sometimes this stuff happens. No relationship is perfect. My parents fought all the time and still stuck together. You gotta work on it. Me. My mom got punched by her ex-husband exactly once and divorced him over it. 2 years later she met my dad. And in the following 35 years they've barely even raised their voices against each other. He got real quiet. Ultimately he moved to another city to cut off contact from her completely and is a changed person now. A lot happier. Glad you talked to him. So many wouldn't. So many don't feel like they can or that's it okay. And so many people would get offended or wouldn't listen if you did talk. Glad you talked to him. My ex put her happiness on me, making it my responsibility. Would demand I stay around and cut my work hours back and then be upset when we wouldn't have money to go out. Every time I would try and leave I was coerced with sex to stay. Because I was young and stupid. After 8 years I had enough. I moved 5 states away. Had a chain of bad relationships that ended. Took some time to work on myself and I am now engaged to an amazing woman I can communicate with, share feelings about issues and who values a healthy relationship. Damn, you went straight to polygamy. Good on you, dude. I straight up snorted, I won't even lie. Being cowed into an open arrangement equals normal. Him introducing me to friends while hanging out or going to parties and then him telling me later in the evening after the ice had broken that they were actually the girl's. He was ducking. Capitulating to his insistence that we continue to hang out even though I was uncomfortable with knowing this new information. Equals normal. Him making unwelcome and uncomfortable comments to other women I was friends with in front of me to attempt to orchestrate threesomes that I was not okay with. Equals normal. If you love me, you'll chase after me. Equals normal. If you love me, you'll leave FaceTime up at all times so I can see what's going on in your dorm. Equals normal. If you love me, you will not show any sad or mad emotion because it ruins my mood. Equals normal. And let me guess, he wanted to keep you chained up so you wouldn't cheat on him? Sounds like a piece of shit who uses terminology to excuse himself. As someone who's definitely somewhere on the poly spectrum, I find it completely abhorrent. Part of wanting freedom to play around is having to have restraint and making sure everyone also wants it and isn't just permissive but happy about it. Porn is not a documentary. Being used as a sex doll, contorted into uncomfortable positions, and pounded until you bleed, can't stand up, or just break down crying from the pain isn't normal. Nor is anal sex a necessity. We were both virgins and he had major porn brain. I thought I was bad at sex and would never be able to have a positive experience with intimacy until I finally left him and was with my second boyfriend. I'm okay now. But wow, was that a horrible person to lose my virginity to. The first and second time I had sex, I was in so much pain. Crying during sex. Bled for days afterward. The third time, I tried with a different guy. When he came over, I had paper towels ready next to the bed because I thought for sure I was going to bleed. I ended up dating that guy for about 4 months and never felt any pain or bled at all during sex. One time I told him to stop and he immediately pulled away, and I was expecting him to not stop like the first guy did. I was really surprised. It completely opened my eyes to how sex is supposed to be and how much that first guy messed me up. First guy who didn't stop when told to stop equals rapist. Suicide threats, black eyes, self-harm manipulation, social media and phone stalking rights, remove female friends from social media plus life. Sex is a currency. Must respond to texts within 20 minutes or the result is one or more of the above. Finally got out of that one after 3 long years. Learned a whole lot. Helped to build my now very strong relationship though, so hey, take the positive and leave the rest, am I right? Wow, we must have had the same ex. Glad you got out of that situation. It's a stressful trap to say the least. Psychological abuse. I have a physical reaction now when my current partners are nice to me. When I do something he would have berated me for hours and locked me in my room for. Like, I get a panic attack because my partners are nice to me when I drop a glass, or got laid off, or forgot to unload the dishwasher, and then they don't bring it up every time they're irritated with me. My ex was still yelling at me 14 years later for shit I did when we first started dating. Shit like I forgot to pick up his laundry from the floor or bought the wrong brand of bacon. At the end there, the lectures lasted hours as he recounted 14 years of offenses. My current partners? They don't throw shit in my face that I did the day before. The dissonance is crazy. I knew the other abuse wasn't normal, but my stepdad is the same way with my mom. So I had no idea. I just thought it's how men are. Don't know. Never saw anyone else. Married her. Edit. As a neat side effect, we do tons of stuff I am sure other people would think is really weird. Thank you for this glimmer of happiness in an otherwise depressing thread. My ex basically taught me that it wasn't okay for me to be upset about things. Every time I would get my feelings hurt, even when I was upset about something completely unrelated to him, it was somehow flipped around, so I ended up reassuring and comforting him. That shit really messed me up, and I basically had to relearn how to be vulnerable with myself. He also had a very solid plan of how he expected me to live my life. Basically his main goal for me was to have kids and be a good housewife. Yikes. On the bright side, nowadays I'm happily engaged and my fiance treats me with so much love and respect. He's supportive of my dreams and we are able to lean on each other in times of hardship. Actually thinking about the future was a big thing. Since we got together in high school, there always seemed to be this idea in the back of my head that this was going to end eventually, and because of that I never really looked at anything like a future together. When we graduated it was just too comfortable to break up, and even though things were fine enough to stay, it was a drag that never ended because I just never really thought of them as a person I wanted to be with forever. It's hard to say when exactly I stopped loving her, but it was a relationship of comfort and convenience more than anything. And when she eventually cheated on me and broke us up, it was still just so easy to get back together on and off after that I could feel myself falling back into a commitment I didn't want to be a part of. Now it's wild to actually think about a future with my partner. I genuinely look forward to stuff like maybe living together, or getting married and seeing the world and all that romantic stuff. Before everything was more or less convenience. But I had no idea how great it was to actually look forward to potential life events with someone else. Not me, but the girl I'm currently dating said that her first long-term boyfriend would stare at himself in the bathroom for an hour or so before going to bed each night. Was your girlfriend dating Patrick Bateman? Edit. Thank you for the gold. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.